I'm British and a lord. Girl, I want you to be one.
Digital SLR.
That I have, the great conversations that I have, are the conversations where I'm not defending my belief on something. You know what I mean? Because there's different motives to different conversations. Like when you meet someone and they don't know about like you mentioned the pineal gland in the brain, and like because I've researched this stuff for so long, I've got to tell them. I've got to tell them. It's in their head right now. You know what I mean? There's a gland in their head that they've not been told about. It's releasing this hormone that is the whole reason that they believe in whatever. It's crazy. It makes you... So the pineal gland releases dimethyltryptamine. The example that I usually use is that dimethyltryptamine helps you assume. It gives you the assumption. Like if it's raining outside, you'll assume that people are outside getting wet. And then your brain will react to that based on who you are as a person. So it'll be like, aha, people are outside getting wet. Or, oh, those poor people. Or you'll have like, oh, I feel so comfortable being inside and I know no one's outside having more fun than me. That's also a thought. But the assumption, that base assumption that, oh, people might be getting wet, that comes from that dimethyltryptamine. And when you max the brain out with dimethyltryptamine, it opens a portal that, you know, gets you into contact with God or the God of creativity, I guess. Which might just be God. But when I did DMT, this entity has told me that it is God. And it appears to be different people in different forms based on their knowledge of the world. So it'll appear like an alien for some. So you get those hillbillies that get abducted by aliens and they're like, oh, I spoke to God. And you get people that come back from some near-death experience and they're like, oh man, I talked to God because he looked like blonde hair and blue eyes. And it's your idea of him, but he has to talk to you in that way. So if he appears to you in a way that you don't recognise, you'll be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? You won't be comfortable, you won't be relaxed, you won't be able to talk to him in a way that is going to be conducive to what he wants to tell you. Everyone gets told the same thing. Like, go back, tell everyone that you know, not to worry. That's why Jesus came back preaching the good news. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, that whole shit still is told as a story and it's believable and it makes sense. But yeah, everyone gets sent back with the same realization. I got sent back with it, but the one thing I say, which I know most people don't say, is like, you know, people aren't going to believe me, right? And they're like, yeah, I know, I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this for thousands of years. And people that have visited here and gone back, they've invented things like the Bible, they've invented things like great works of art, they've done things like great music. All your greatest music comes from here. You know what I mean? This inspiration from here, and they're trying to translate that to people. But again, it's down to people's comprehension of your work or their ability to be curious. But you were telling me about performance art and how cathartic it is. Oh yeah, I don't think I've done like an introduction. Welcome back to WessinTheWorld. I'm Wes, and I'm currently here in your world with Alex Bird, who's a local artist. It feels really like demotive when you say local artist. He's a local artist from the local area. And you sort of think immediately, like, well, I'm not going to check him out, he's local. What is the off-putting factor of local? Like, Van Gogh was local, you wouldn't pay attention. Like, I mean, we've got our own local fucking Van Gogh. We've got Ewan. Like, but he's not a copy at all of Van Gogh. It's like he took Van Gogh's work from where he left off and went like this. And we're like, yes, that's exactly what we want. So, Alex, if you can just tell me a little bit about what you do in the local area. Nothing like, you know, massive explanation. Just what you feel comfortable, what you want to work on, because you're doing your, at the moment, what is it now? Your key workers work, where you're taking people that have worked really hard, the actual ones on the front line at the moment with the pandemic, and you're painting them in these glorified manners that shows the reality of them, but what would you say you're doing? Because this is just my interpretation. What?
Yeah.
You don't have to explain it either, because artists hate to explain it. But
No, it's cool.
what do you feel your work is?
For me, just purely to give them kind of recognition for the work that they've been doing on the front line.
Yeah.
But not only that, it's kind of capturing, you know, us as people, like just every day-to-day life. It's kind of glorifying, you know, everything that they do. So yeah, just to give them the kind of recognition that they deserve, really. And I want to make every kind of individual portrait of each key worker just different to one another.
It's interesting that you do it inside of a frame, like you do it in the medium that you do it in is your chosen medium, but it just so happens to be the perfect chosen medium for what you want to do with this project, isn't it? Like, because you got that frame, and we were talking about how consistency is key. And people want to keep coming back if it's consistently, key workers, he's done another key workers, I'll go back. The last one was great, obviously I'm going to go back and see this one. So yeah, it is, like you said, it is the glorification of that. And just your style. I don't know what it is about your style, bro. Like, it's just in terms of like glorification, it's not like putting them on a throne. You know what I mean? Like putting them, it's glorifying for what they are. Yeah, it's mad, and yet there's no real additions to it. It's like, look, this is it. And what was the last one done in? Was it graphite? Or?
Yeah, so there was charcoal powder. That's basically the first thing I use in the portrait. It's just basically to get the kind of layer, like tonal work down. And then I work into it with an eraser. So it kind of brings out the light in someone's face.
Oh, okay.
And then I work with graphite pencils, really, just to kind of key in the detail work.
Yeah, I like that you use the erasers as part of the process. That's sick. So I was talking to you the other day yesterday about Bob Ross, and then he's what are they called now? The palette knives. Yeah, the palette knives, and the scrape of the palette knife creates a nice effect when you do one scrape and it changes the colour within that one scrape and creates a new effect. But yeah, using the eraser, that's amazing. Obviously people have been doing that for a while, but for this particular work, it just works perfectly. I'm gonna start doing that, man. I'm gonna start.
There's like the charcoal powder as well. There's kind of a sense of freedom of it.
So you're just sprinkling that shit all over the place.
Yeah,
like.
so I get like a proper soft brush, quite big as well, just to kind of free up the kind of the control of my work. Just having that freedom to kind of make marks that I wouldn't usually do with my kind of intricate work. You know, it's quite eye-opening, like to what I can actually do with this medium. It's the best thing I've done, like in recent times with my work, just to kind of open my mind to something new. And I think it's doing alright so far. Well,
because you're saying about your more technical work, and I saw if you go through like because I'm new to your work, like brand new. I've just now. Cause I knew you for ages. I didn't know you're an artist. Like, so weird. It crops up, and we were talking about how to promote yourself, but to also stay elusive at the same time. And it's the balance that you find there. The people that want your work will find your work because of that little promotion that you're doing. But you're not going so far as to over promote your work, and people come in there expecting fucking, I don't know, like something that's going to appeal to the masses. You know what I mean? I don't want anything that I ever do to appeal to the masses at all, as long as a few people get it. You know what I mean? And with you and stuff, he was saying about his technical work. Well, I've talked to him a few times, and he's like, I got to a point of near realism with my work, and then I started to work backwards, and I was really intrigued by that, because it's like, what did you find fascinating about colour just in itself that made you revert back from your more detailed work and go, actually, you know, it's not even about these lines. These lines are all redundant. Like, these 3 lines, you can remove it, it still looks like a face. You know, and I like that, because I've seen that happen with his work, and I'm seeing that happen with your work as well. But we were talking about the performance art element. So you were painting live performance, and it was all charcoal, and it was started off with a bunch of lines, and then you screwed it up at the end, and then started crying. Why was that?
Just the cathartic nature of it, I guess. So yeah, basically the whole thing was basically working from like music.
You can talk to me. You don't have to talk to all of them.
Yeah, just working from music really, and kind of separating myself to any kind of like idea really. And yeah, I just let the music kind of control my actions during the performance. That's
interesting that you've brought music into it, because that you must have thought, oh, I'm going to bring music because it's just going to keep my mind focused. But then it just became an addition to the art.
Like there was kind of visual elements to it as well, because I'm kind of inspired by like music, and like TV as well. Like there's kind of scenarios through TV themes that I kind of engage myself with.
Okay.
I mean, one of the films that I really liked, and it was kind of the method acting of Heath Ledger from the Joker.
Ah, nice.
Not so much to that extreme.
Yeah.
Because I think I would have probably not have been able to go through with the performance.
But you wanted that sort of the chaotic, the chaos, because there's that. Have you seen those character development charts, or the character indication where it's just like, it's like 9 frames, and it's like individual characters or individual different incarnations of the Joker, and you've got lawful good, and you've got lawful neutral, and then you've got chaotic good, chaotic neutral. But obviously, like thematically in the Batman series, Joker was always considered like the chaotic. Was it chaotic evil? Because he doesn't care what happens as long as it's bad. And you're fuck, like, and chaotic neutral's like, I don't really know. He could go good, he could go bad. I don't really care, but I'm gonna be chaos. I'm gonna force a conclusion. You know what I mean? And that's. But yeah, with that element you said about you wanted to factor that in, and that was the basis for your art, and then it ended up being a bunch of crazy chaos lines, and then you ended up crying, and you really like that. Yeah. It's so weird when you can take the whole, not just the painting, but the whole performance as the piece of art, kind of time based in that aspect. Was there like a few people there?
Yeah, so it was in Coventry, like it was I think it was a Biennale kind of festival. So basically the uni had the opportunity to kind of do an exhibition in this place. I can't remember what the place was called. I think it was the Telegraph place.
Telegraph, the newspaper?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I just opened myself up to a new kind of way of working, because obviously I've been really, as I say, intricate with my work, and it was all about letting myself go to try something new. So yeah, it just turned out to kind of, because it was months and months into preparation for this work. Like it wasn't just done on the spot.
Okay. How did you prepare and how did you prepare for a performance like that? Do you have to like sort of think about what you do in that morning and in preparation, or is it more preparation as in the layout?
I mean, I'd say like for months I was listening to the same kind of music every single day. Just non-stop.
Okay.
And you kind of get dragged into kind of the emotional side of things. Like,
you identify with it.
And then I'd watch kind of relevant kind of TV series, films that kind of resonated with that feeling.
Okay.
So then I felt like I was one of these characters from TV, and yeah, it all translated into the kind of performance.
Nice. Method art.
Yeah, I loved it. Like I say, it was probably the best thing I've ever done, because it opened my kind of eyes to the horizons of what I could do. Even though before I didn't believe I could ever do it.
Nice. It's sort of taking something that you feel comfortable doing, but putting it into a space in which you're not usually comfortable doing it in.
I mean, I did like a couple of like trial performances in the studio.
Oh yeah.
Before the night, and yeah, it's just completely surreal to actually do it on the night compared to those kind of trial pieces, because I felt it felt more raw on the night. Like,
yeah. Well, it's gonna be, isn't it? It's like it's raw automatically because you don't know what you're about to do.
Yeah.
So there's always that element of underpreparedness to it that you can't get rid of.
No.
when I was teaching in Spain, I would always go into classes, and there was some classes I would go into underprepared, and there would be better classes, and it was training like a really bad, behaviour into my personality. And the way that I balanced it out is that, like yourself, I just watched more teacher shit online, and I just thought, if I feel more like a teacher, if I identify more with that, listen to some more stuff music wise, that teachers would listen to, weird as that sounds, then when I go into that situation where I am underprepared, it's going to be good because I'm playing up to this identity. I'm not just shooting for an identity in the sky. I'm it, and I'm just like, I've got to feed what this is. I've made myself into this. Now I've got to prove to the world that I am this. But you feel comfortable because you are comfortably that. Like, I'm comfortably who I am, whatever that is. Now, because I'm in my bedroom, I identify with this person that I am here. But it put me in another place. I'll be a different person, where I'm comfortable being that person. So it's a strange one. But yeah, I wanted to tell you this story because when I was at university, we had like a substitute teacher, and I was doing computer games design, so it was already an art based kind of degree. Anyway, very art based, like very minimal computing. There was a little bit of like coding in the second year, but not much. But we had this one class. Our lecturer was off, and this one guy came in, like beard, bit muffled up, and old school jacket, like kind of tweed. And he was like got edge. He was like kind of edgy. And it was weird. It was so strange. You never saw him again. He came in, and he said, "What's the lecture been going through?" And we told him. He was like, "Oh, fuck that." And then he gave us like pieces of paper each, like a A4 sheet of paper, and then he basically told us to draw the room from our perspective. So we all drew the room from our perspective, and then he put on the backboard. He put them all up on the board in order of which seat we were sitting in.
So kind of, I don't know the layout of the room, but it's kind of like round.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it. I have no idea. But like when we were looking at it, it was like a perfect mirror of the room, but it was our interpretation of how it looked. From how we could draw and our ability to draw and all that sort of stuff, and we were blown away by this. We were like, Jesus, this is insane! Like, this is art. This is inspired us to do art. And then he took them all down and he stacked them up like this, and then he put them into a metal bin and set it on fire. And we were just like, Jesus, what's going on here? It's just like, don't be precious about your art. Be precious about the brain that created that art, because the brain that created that art can recreate that art. So never be what's the word now? Never be obsessed with your work.
And the style of which you're making.
And then he just left it on fire. And we're like, what the fuck? We're like, this. Did
he leave the room as well, just for impact?
Yes. Picked up his bag and then just left. And I was like, shit. And I mean, I don't know why the alarms didn't go off. That was like a word. That was a bad thing. But yeah, as unbelievable as that is, that actually happens in life. He's probably in prison now, but like
that's probably where he got
for like arson. Like, I mean, that's legitimate arson. But that for me was like, that was genius, because I was like, okay, so he taught me so much in that one lesson, and he was just, because he didn't have a lesson plan, he still chose to come in and just do that. And I was like,
something like changing, like.
Yeah. So then the next lesson, when we crack on with all our work, we were all working. Our lecturer was just like, what's this? Like, why is they so inspired? Because we're not thinking about, you know, the glory. We're not thinking about the glory anymore at all. Got to push that out of our minds. Our love was finally brought back to work, but not work in the conventional sense. It was like work as in art, and art as in work, and I was like, whoa, this is insane. But yeah, that was a big thing for me, and getting involved in art. It's just I've never had the ability to just stick to one art form, which I've only ever had fun with, to be honest. Like, just been like having to come to something new, like you said, coming to a new medium, and seeing what it brings out in you. But yeah, is there anything that you wanted to advertise?
I mean, my Instagram page. Would that be
Instagram, yeah, of course. Yeah. Anything you want to advertise, like I say, I'm trying to get more and more people to do this. I'm gonna get an actual mic, and get this all together and just sort of set it up in my shed. But get more artistic people from the local area, because there's so much going on, and there's so very little connecting wires. And there's when in social interactions and stuff, I always describe like there's circles of knowledge, which are people like yourself. They're usually kind of on the introvert side of the scale.
I'm definitely introvert.
Yeah, they're usually on the introverted style, but because they're introverted, it means they're pulling energy in, and extroverts are pushing energy out, and these two work together. This is why I've always had friends like you, Alex. I've always had friends just like that are introverted, because we have great conversations, because we believe the same things, just seeing it from a different perspective, and it just completes that picture. So in social interactions, you've got circles of knowledge, and then you've got the linking circles, and they're usually like the extroverts. They can dip between groups, and they can link people together. It's like, oh, you've got to meet my friend, he produces music. Oh yeah, you got to meet my friend, he raps, yo. Like that. Those are always the guys that sort of connect. So I mean, both sides are just as important, but without the linking circles, you just got a bunch of floating circles. They won't really communicate with each other. Don't want to get in each other's way or business because you look like you're busy. Oh, I don't want to bother you. You know what I mean? Because I've been there as well. I've been to the other side of the extrovert scale. I suppose we all just waver. It's wherever we feel comfortable. But I suppose in like when I go through like depressions or something like that, or go through dips in my personality, I have no choice but to be introverted. You know what I mean? So yeah. Thanks for joining me, man. I just like to say, it's in your Instagram page. What was that?
At AlexBird_drawings.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comment section as well. Like and subscribe my page if you want to, and support me on Patreon. Alex supports me.
It's gotta be done. I'll regret it.
That's it. We've got to support each other, because creativity is within everyone. And I think if you don't spend that creative energy, it can manifest in negative ways. It can create false realities that you don't actually live in. The world can be as bad as your imagination can make it. I think I said in one video. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I've been Wes. This has been Alex. We've been in your world. Toodaloo. Stay blessed. Don't stress. You never know what's next, and it's exciting. It's not scary.
Catch you later.
Oh yeah. We in the motherfucking place tonight. Show's about to start, guys. Everybody get to your